Yeah, so my name's Michael. We're an accounts in Croydon, and I've got a team of, including me, there's 6 of us. So when we started AVN, I think there was me and 2 other team members, and when we started on our masterclass, which I think was about 5 or 6 years ago. So we've been AVN members probably about half the life that MDH has been going for.
Spot on. Just give us an insight as to what life was like before then, before AVN, and maybe what life's like now.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I would say was a fair synopsis of it. I was one of them ones that were not very good at taking rules and directions. So as a team member, when I was employed, I'm sure I was a lot of the time my boss's worst nightmares. So the chance to open up your practice was always always something that appealed to me. When you go through that journey and you realise that there's a whole load of other stuff that you thought just happened and it doesn't, and you've got to do things like IT and software and everything else there, you get bogged down in a lot of stuff. Now, I remember when I took my first holiday, which at the time was a massive thing, where you leave a team member in charge on their own and you're leaving it for your baby. And I remember reading probably one of the most powerful business books ever for me, which is Michael Gerber's The E-Myth. I still remember sitting there on that lounger in Egypt going, this is it. And then, like you do, you think you can do it all yourself without any help. So you do it all in a crappy little Word document where you systemize all your products and everything like that. And it's okay. Now, I rocked up at AVN on a proactivity event to start off with, and knew AVN was going to be for me in sort of 11, 12, but I wasn't quite ready. So I knew at some point that I'd come back. And I then made the decision, and I think Val hit the nail on the head perfectly earlier, where once you really commit to something, stuff happens. So when I rocked up on masterclass, where at the time I think it was a bit different back then, where you was going to definitely sign up or not sign up, and then you learn all the tools. I knew on that thing we was gonna go for it big time. And what I did, which I would recommend to any firm at whatever stage they are, I took a team member with me who was going to help implement everything. And so as Shane says, I mean, I'm guilty of it as much as anyone about being a control freak of where no one else can do this bar me. But they can, and sometimes they do it a lot better.
Which can probably also be quite painful as well, can't it, I suppose? But, good stuff. So, I mean, obviously, you set yourself a really ambitious target of achieving AVN Excellence, didn't you? Of doing it in 1 year. Just tell us a little bit about that and what achieving that has meant for you.
Yeah, I think it was massive. So I think it's easy for us all to set little goals. And if you set little goals, you are only going to ever achieve little things. So I remember Tracy Clough at the time, because I thought to get 4-star at masterclass would take 3 years. And that would be with a lot of hard work and effort and blah, 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 blah like this. But when we actually analysed it and thought, well, there's no real benefit. You might as well just go for 6 and then be downgraded. And the moment we set it, the whole energy changed. This was, we're definitely going to do this. And we even put the flag in the ground quite a long way in advance and said, right, our assessment's going to be on this date. And every single thing was working backwards to make sure that we got there. And I know that at the time now, AVN have got the roadmaps which take you through there, and it's all well systemized and blah, 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 blah. But don't be frightened to get, there's a little book that had the ring things on it, where you can then look through and choose the biggest sections that are really most important to you. I echo everything what everyone said before about pricing is massive. And it's not just when you start off, when you first play with Time's Up, it's are you consistently looking at your pricing and are you bottling it? Because that is where, I mean, in our first year of AVN, we saw pricing increases that went up about 50 grand for the same amount of clients. So there were little wins across the board, boom, 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 boom. Direct debits were massive. I thought lockup, what an idiot I was, yeah? All my other practices that I worked for had lockup of 120 days, yeah? So there's Michael at MDH rocking up for, yeah, we're killing it. We're 90 days lock up. And then you go around and talk to the other members. You go, what an idiot. These guys are in negative. So the moment when you concentrate on your direct debits, I mean, in year one of joining AVN, we was collecting £3 a month on standing order. And within 10 months, we went to 17 grand a month. And that was just by concentrating on the most important things, and it just changes your whole energy. So with excellence, it can come across as quite daunting, where you go, there's 71 criteria here, and you've got to do 15 optional things, and it's, oh, can we do it? Or am I just going to be one of them ones that, oh my God, he's off again, and he's failed miserably? But the tricks that I learned through excellence is, as accountants, we take things that are very factual and literal. With excellence, don't. If it says everyone needs a fixed price agreement, it doesn't mean that they need it from times up. It means it could be on an email. So as long as it's written down and it's before you've done the work, job done. And are you doing that with every single client? Now, everyone's talking about software and development and blah, 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 blah. My favorite AVM thing is a spreadsheet. So you've got a business one-page plan, which absolutely changed our business by following it. And if you implement a business one-page plan properly, you will tick off 50% at least of AVN Excellence if you do it properly, consistently, and get it systemized. Now, what we found, it must be at least 5 years since we've been doing one-page plans, is you start off with, and it feels, again, really daunting. So just start off with one thing at a time. So you can start off with a one-page plan with 3 metrics, and then you just build more that are really important to you, your goals at your time. Even in the 5 years that I've been with AVN, my goals have changed significantly from when I first started out to now. So when we first started out, when we did the benchmarking report for the first time, we was on about just above average for the level of profit. 5 years time, we've close to tripled it than we have doubled it. And we've probably doubled turnover and added a couple of team members. That means that rather than working 6 days a week, because you can only be successful by working hard, I can get my working day, if I choose to, down to 3 days a week. That normally means that I can take Fridays off, that me and my wife, after a long road, ended up having a young daughter recently. So that means apart from today, I close work at 4, and then sit there and watch Thomas the Tank Engine and what other rubbish she wants to put on telly at the time. And for me, that is amazing, because you get to do the things that you choose to, rather than sitting there on a Sunday night still knocking out accounts, because that's what it takes to be successful. It's all bollocks. All you need to do is take that active decision to pick it up and do something differently. Now, there is no silver bullet or magic wand that gets you to that situation. So in the same way that Nick Hume said earlier, it's about closing your office, turning your emails off, turning your phone off, diverting your phone. No one comes in, and you just get stuff done. And the way that I started off with that was a stop doing list. And it was this, it was done in this format. It was every job, every task, everything that I was doing, I would then ask myself the question is, why the hell am I doing this? And if you think someone else could do it, you just build up a massive stop doing list. That then turns into a system. That then you check. You then train your team to make sure they're doing it, and then you stop doing it, and you just work at things one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, until you realise I'm doing a lot less. And it's sometimes, I think someone in the comments earlier put, it's sometimes what you look back and appreciate, because we're too busy bashing ourselves over the head going, oh, I still got to do this, oh, I still got to do that, oh, that's done, that's done, that's done. And it's all rubbish. Why don't you concentrate and celebrate the wins that you do on yourself? And I'm bad at this naturally, because I'm always concentrating on what's still to do. Now, an app that I found really helpful in doing this with was called I'd Done This. So what you can do is it sends an email to you whatever days you want. I used to have it Monday to Friday. And every time that I've been working on the business or working on stuff, I would then write down what I've done, write down what I've done, write down what I've accomplished, email it to I've Done This. You then look at the calendar for the month. And then when you actually stand back and read it and go, Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did. Cool, I actually did a lot, didn't I? So there's me sitting there, bashing myself over there, going, oh, we can still got this, still this. We've actually done quite a bit here, haven't we? Why don't we celebrate? So we made an active decision within our team, but more so myself, to celebrate them wins as when we go. And what we did was, as we went through AVN Excellence, we literally dropped it into a spreadsheet and said, right, let's just tick one section off at a time. But each sections will be more important to different people. So I've always found going out there talking to clients and marketing, I'm better at that. But when it comes to actually finishing files and systems and stuff like that, I'm so bored. So I knew that when it came down to systemizing your practice, that was really important. Now, the one thing that's really important with systemization is, yes, having the notes, and whether you use Suite Process or System Builder, it doesn't matter as long as they're there. The most important part is building workflows and job stages so it then gets allocated to people. So each day when they rock up in the morning, and you can use Asana, you could use Trello, you can use Iris, you can use Center. There's a whole load of rubbish out there that you can use, but it's about getting the right workflows on there, because then people know, the people look at their job board and then they go, oh, that's what I've got to do today. And if you see yourself with a lot of job stages or tasks on your thing, it's about how you then allocate it to your team. So I think you go through stages, because it's easy to say when you first join AVN, you do all these good habits and you get into these great systems and you're doing this, but it's dead easy to slip back into old habits because they come naturally. And it's about checking in with yourself to say, started doing too much again. Let's get that stop doing list again. And I think as long as you appreciate that and you're honest with yourself, because it's too easy to hit a certain level of criteria and then stop doing what was really important. And I would carry on checking in with yourself, because once you've implemented all the stuff, it's then about really staying on top of it and performing. And I've learned a lot that the better and bigger that you grow your team, you actually change direction. Instead of being client facing, I still do client meetings and I've still got clients that I could never get rid of. When you turn back and face your team, you then get, in my opinion, the power of 5, which can then give a better service to your clients.
Thank you for that. That was brilliant, Michael. We've got 1 minute left, and so far I think, hopefully you'll have seen Val's statement there about how she runs the meetings, what went well and what will go better next time. I think that's a really good piece of advice as well, complementing that. There's a question from another Victoria Walton. So again, if you can rename yourselves, that would be fantastic. Maybe a few examples of some of the things you're currently measuring on your one-page plan.
So the one-page plan is the COVID one that came in was cash divided by overheads. So a lot of us have fixed overheads, and if you're looking at improving profitability, look at the sea of rubbish that you're spending on direct debit that you're not using. So a big one that we did was cash divided by overheads. We started off at 0.4 an hour on 3 months, and our year ends August. The big one I think for accountants is turnaround times. So how long does it take you to do the job? And I'm not talking the one-off ones that go, oh yeah, I've got it down. It's 2 months before the year end. All of them. So, and I would also say as well, the customer surveys in relation to the question about would you be referred? And if you're not, and we chase up every single customer to get an answer out of them. And a team member of mine called Jane does that. And if you're not 9 or above for all of your customers, you've got work to do.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's your net promoter score, isn't it? Okay, time's up on that one. And very conscious that we've got 2 more people as well. So please thank Michael in the chat box. Michael, again, you've been 100% awesome. And I think just so much information flowed from that. It's been really valuable. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.